I think we are good to go. There it is. Little bonus episode. Jacob and I getting together. My name is Eric Nicolosi, and we're here to talk about life, love, and lust as normal. Um, this has been an interesting week. There's a lot to be thankful for, and I'm a big proponent of speaking in gratitude specifically to yourself, both in the morning, the afternoon, and at night. I think that's something you should be constantly doing to remind yourself that victories do come. Good things do arrive. Victories are achievable. Things that are beauteous, virtuous, and wonderful can and will and do happen upon your life. With that said, life as we know it is both up and, of course, down. And I think over the course of this last week and a half, I've been hit with a whole lot of uh, realizations, right? Like, so some of the people that I've spent some time with, and even some of one of the females that I've spent my time with, this chat, I maybe not spent my time with, but chatted, but maybe it's specific to the Northwest, but I don't think it's just here. Maybe up here it's a bit more anxious and a bit more frenetic. But what I've come to realize is that people don't know how to navigate sadness, anxiety, or even depression. And I think, in all honesty, that depression, anxiety, and or quote unquote general sadness is actually a reflection upon the things that you've done in your past that have not led to an area in which your life is good. I'm not saying that I'm definitely free of anxiety. Maybe I'm not free of sadness in that I should be further along in my goals than I am right now. But and part of the reason why I bring it up is because I don't think it deems jumping into the pit of fire and allowing yourself to just follow that trail. I think it's unnecessary. And I think if your life is full of depression, you need to take a real hard look and start digging yourself out of that hole and climb the fuck out of it. And depending on how deep your depression is, you're just going to have to accept that you're just going to be sad for a while. Sometimes, what's his name? Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, whatever it is. He's like, suffering might only last an hour, a day, or even a year. But if you continue to do the right things, eventually you'll make it out, right? Every one of the greatest stories we appreciate as human societies always has this main character walking through the dark tunnel, getting beat up by all fucking society, challenging the greatest of odds, and persisting, and then eventually coming out victorious. That is the exact same. That literally is as an instruction manual as to how you should live your life. And if you decide that you're a main character and you don't like the sadness, depression, or anxiety that you feel, you have to take action out of that. And you just have to be like, okay, I can choose to stay within this realm and choose death. Right? I honestly think that occupying, I think being depressed is probably worse than death on some level, right? That's why a lot of people try to escape it with suicide. But what I'm trying to say is that you just have to have an unmistakably hope that if you do the right actions long enough, eventually you'll make it out of it, right? And that's not to say that people don't have like actual chemical issues in their brain and things of that nature, right? But I think at first you should do everything in your power to get out of it. So that's how I'm going to open up this talk. And one of the really big things that I appreciate about you is that a lot of the time, although we do agree on a lot, we also disagree on a lot too. Mainly just because you look at it from a completely different angle, right? You're a little bit more ruthless than I am. But yeah, that's my 2 cents so far. What comes to mind as I say that to you?
Yeah, I'm listening to you talk, and I can hear the people that aren't here in the background being like, "Oh, what? It's really easy to say. Oh, what? Of course, I didn't think of that. Oh no. You mean all I have to do is stop being sad to not be sad?" And there's always that side of the crowd, and it's like the answer to that is really simple in my mind. Is that then you're not ready. then you're not ready to get out of the sadness. If that doesn't like click in your head and that doesn't lead to an end result, then you're not ready for this level of counter or level of action.
Yeah, some people want to wallow in it, right? And I think that's, I don't know.
But some people choose death, though, or the literal and the proverbial death, So like, I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But then, then this talk isn't going to be for you. But then if you're on the other side of the fence, and you're like, you know what, you're right, I do need to do something about it. Now, give me something to do about it. Then
now let's talk about the instructions, right? Like,
yeah,
how do I clip my way out of there, right? Like, someone told me the other day that I bring them a smile on tough days, and it's just interesting. And I'm like, oh, that was very sweet, I'm like, oh, I appreciate that. But then I'm like, why don't you just reach out? Just give me a call.
Yeah.
If you deem somebody valuable in your life, I mean, then sometimes sharing that, or just not even sharing it, just putting yourself around that other person and just allowing things to bubble up in a good way. Because even when I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll call you guys and I'll be like, yo, and then I deliver some level of happiness or something that I learned or whatever it is, and we joke about it, and we have a good time, and then what happens? We end up forgetting about the bullshit that happened prior to that, right? But maybe that's just what we've built over the last decade of friendship, that we understand that in order to change the mood, you got to change the mind. In order to change the mind, you got to change the movement. The movement.
Yeah. It's also very atypical. Just like call your homies and just to bring positive energy. You're like, the only reason why I called is to share good vibes with you. Or like, I have some bullshit, but if I know that if I give you good vibes, you give me good vibes back, and then now we're good to go.
Yeah, now it's just like this upward cycle, right? Like, that's something I've always thought about. But even when I have like retarded shit happen, usually I try to describe it in a way where we can both laugh about it. Let me just tell you about my suffering, and we'll just like giggle about it. I don't know, maybe that's just like a level of perspective, or maybe it's just something that we've decided to be irrational in. I just don't want to be disappointed and or sad, I think it's very unfortunate that all the people that I truly love and care about they don't live in this fucking state. Not to say that my parents are leaving, my brothers left, you left, Aiden left, David left. Some of my most favorite women that I've spent my time loving don't live in the state either. Even one of my new loves, it's just like a whole stacker. I'm like, and like the people that I that are still here, I shouldn't spend as much time with them as I do now, But, the reason why I bring it up is because today was a bit of a sad day, And I was like, ooh, what is this feeling I'm having right now? And I found that the sadness has been built in want and desire. And I was like, oh, what are you wanting and desiring, right? So like, I wrote my list down or whatever it is. And then I was like, why don't you have them? And it was because I did not take as much action as I should have. I was not as disciplined as I should have been. I did not get after it consistently enough over the past 6 months. And if I had done that, then this level of sadness and or depression that I was happenstance on this fine day wouldn't have occurred. I would be living in a level of glory. I.e. having the things that I desire and want. And I was like, oh, that's what that emotion is for. To remind you to do the things that you want to do. And so if people who are listening, if you have these feelings, maybe you should roll the dice. Maybe you should give it a chance. Maybe you should fall forward. Maybe you should try. Get after it. or try something new. You can't rely on your old vices to bring you happiness. Some people like to create this facade of success or happiness by doing things that are seen to be happy rather than just being happy within yourself and the life that you've built. You know what I mean? Let's not pretend to be successful. Let's actually try to be successful. Let's not pretend to be happy. Let's actually create happiness for ourselves. And I don't think let's define happiness. Happiness to me means a conglomerate of good emotions circled in an oasis of activities that not only upcycle myself in that, like working out or eating properly, getting good sleeps, having good sex. In addition to that, creating an environment of just good people also around you, ensuring that your friendships are solid, ensuring that the people that you love, i.e., like your women, and or if you're a female listening to this, the dude that you're with or whatever, also cares about you. Learn to create your oasis of good emotions, right? Find these little things that you can do. Like if you were to decide the time that you've spent per month doing little, like say for instance, you like to go on a hike. Well, make sure you go on 2 hikes a month that are really, really good. If you know that working out brings positive energy to you, then ensure that you work out 3 times a week. If you know that spending time with your friends is something beneficial to you, well, make sure that the friends that you do spend time with, you want to be more like, that you admire to a certain degree. And then just give those gifts back to them. Hey, listen, this is why I really like hanging out with you, because of these reasons. And if you do that kind of stuff, all it does is it builds an oasis that separates you from the desert of depression that everyone else is going to have to inevitably deal with. But that takes action and work, and I wouldn't even call it work. It's just the activities that create a good life. You know what I mean? Instead of relying on vices, eating too much, drinking too much, doing drugs, relying on, what is the word? The passive nature of the club scene, right? I've had some pretty fucking magical nights, and I've had some nights where I got my ass kicked. Not literally, but this is a tough night. It's just nothing's clicking, right? But yeah. So today I was a bit sad. I was like, "Fuck, you got some more work to do, man." And I think that just comes because I'm a man, and as a man, you are responsible for your environment, right? Because you are the builder. Things don't just happen to a man. Gifts to a man are not given. They are usually taken and or built. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's where the burden of performance falls, right? Like no man is happy where he's at. No man is just like leveled out. And then that's like this line right here. If I have all these things and all these boxes checked, I will be happy. It doesn't really work that way. It's all you got to be hustling. Right? The man is happiest when he has 80% of what he wants. He has to hustle for the last 20. That's where you got to be.
100%. 100%. Now, one of the things that I should notate as well is that you shouldn't be saying to yourself, I'll be happy when something happens. You should be happy doing the activities that create inevitability. It's a completely different perspective. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be the strongest version of yourself, i.e. like fucking extremely lean and just really strong, you should just be happy doing the activities that create that, i.e. working out, taking care of your nutrition. Like, fuck, I take care of myself every day. You want to be happy in the processes as opposed to happy to the end result. That does not necessarily mean you're not going to be happy in the end result as well. It's like a concept of doublethink. You just don't want to be happy when something happens, because when it happens and you realize you feel the exact same. They say that the worst thing you could do for somebody is give them all they ask for, because now they have no hope, right? And I think that's another trap that a lot of people get into as well. That's what I've noticed with a lot of the guys that you and I have been around mentoring and just being leaders of. That's a pattern that I've always seen. They're lost now. They think they'll be better when, and then when they get the one thing, they realize that nothing has changed. In fact, I would almost dare say their life actually gets worse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like when somebody wins the lottery and all of a sudden they're unhappy all the time. As everything they wanted is just like right there. All they do is swipe.
Yeah, there's nothing to be earned or won, right? Like, you got to be in the game to win, but in the game you also will be losing as well. You can't just you don't. I mean, I'm not saying you can not just win all the time. Completely possible. But in order to win all the time, you have to be willing to risk your life all the time. And sometimes your life will be taken, and that, unfortunately, is a loss. But, good old John C. Maxwell, whatever his name is, he says, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And so it all comes down to perspective and how you see your life progress. You know what I mean? I could see it as a loss that all my best people are no longer in the state. Or I could see it as a potential challenge. And then I have been gifted complete isolation from all my best people to give me 6 months to a year to dial in, to double down, to stay up, to wake up early, to do the exact same activities that I need to do in order to get me to my next level goal. Or I can just be depressed, hang out by myself, eat too much food, drink a bunch, and try to attempt to pull, somebody worthless into my life. That sounds like death to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that's not the move, as the kids say. That's not the spot. That's the wrong choice. Everything boils down to pretty much two choices. Any situation you have pretty much two options, and you got one option is to hustle and work hard, and then you got the other option, which is not to hustle and work hard, and then of course now you have to fill your time with all these other poor choices that don't lead to happiness.
100%, man. And it also comes down to knowing what the fuck you want to. Like, stop being so airy in that what you desire. Get things to be very specific. And then when you have that specificity defined, then ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do? You need to reverse engineer it. What do I need to do on a daily basis to create the inevitable end result that I want and desire? Once you figure that out, then you just do the activities and you just choose to be happy in those activities, because that industriousness will lead eventually to the things that are the most desired, right? But as you achieve the next thing, you already have this habit built up, discipline. You just choose what's the next thing, and then that's how you create this like upcycle of things. However, I'm not claiming that this is going to be easy. So some people live in this realm of just like perpetual sadness, and I think that's really, really unfortunate. I think that's really, really, really unfortunate, and I think that it brings sadness to my heart specifically. Especially when I'm hanging out with somebody that I'm like, man, you're a really cool person. I really enjoy you, and then I see this like infestation, that's like living in the realm of their heart, and it's just like, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. That's what hurts me. I think. I'm like, fuck. Why choose to be there? Especially when you see more in people than they see in themselves. One of my most favorite things to say to somebody is like, you deserve good things, right? And I always hope that they believe that so they can change for themselves. But I'm always not rewarded by that all the time, right? But You know?
I think to kind of go off what you're saying is that some of the saddest people I've ever seen are the people that have it the easiest. Some of the people that have the worst anxiety and the people that are struggling with like identity issues or whatever, and they don't know who they are or what they want or whatever. They're often people that have more than enough to be comfortable. Like especially like in America, like 99% of people have enough to be comfortable. Like you can get away with being homeless pretty easily. You know, like there are things out there. There's enough abundance built up in society where like you can be reasonably comfortable without too much risk taken. And it's like those are the people that have it the worst. It's like the people that got to go outside in the cold and the hot and swing a hammer all day. Those are the people that they come home and they're like, you know what, this lazy boy pretty nice. I'm pretty happy now. This recliner, pretty nice.
Yeah, I think finding again happiness in the simplicity of things, and I think it doesn't even. I think happiness is the wrong word. I think it's just gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, some of the most pleasant people I've ever met in my whole life, they just are appreciative. Just appreciative, you know? And I'm like, man, and like those people, like you want to give more good things to, right? You know, it's just, but no, I think you're totally correct. Totally correct.
I like what you just said though, is that you give things to people that you know are going to value it. You know, you ever give something to somebody and they just, since it was a gift, they just never touch it and they never do anything with it. But the people that like whenever you do give them something, they value it and they show you respect in the receiving of the thing. You know, food's always the easiest one. If somebody cooks you a meal and you eat half of it and then you throw the other half away, I mean, it's kind of like a fuck you. But then if like you cook something for somebody and they're like, oh wow, they eat all of it and they're like, oh, that's really good. I really appreciate the effort you put in, and then you get the gratitude back. That's all you were asking for when you gave somebody something. You want the gratitude back. And also, as a recipient, if you want people to do good things for you, you have to show them gratitude when they do it. You know,
true. Yeah.
You can't be a receiver and then just be like, okay, yeah, whatever, and then be upset 6 months later when nobody's giving you anything.
Also true. That's also an interesting thing too, because like sometimes if you give too much gracious gratitude in the beginning, it's like, and I'm thinking like specifically in the context of intersexual dynamics, right? Like you can't tell a girl she's special in the beginning, right? Because then you're just like, all you're doing is you're just fucking gassing this dumb broad up in the beginning, and she's just probably gonna take advantage of you, right? Like, but there comes a time when you know that is absolutely necessary, right? So that's like that. There's that balance between like actually teasing somebody, giving him a hard time, versus also building them up at the same time as well, time and token, right? Like, you and I pay attention to like levels of character when we speak to people, right? And generally, this is gonna sound really shitty. I'm not saying that you and I are fucking perfect, although I would almost dare say that we are pretty goddamn good. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, you meet somebody, you're like, oh, this is actually a person of value. I would like to be able to give these things to them. But if you do it too early, it comes off incorrect. And I think that's something that I've also learned very recently as well. You have to, I think it just comes down again to leadership. Just keep fucking going forward in your dreams, your goals, and your ambitions. And when the moment arises, when you can offer a gift, you're like, hey, listen, this is why you're great. Come with me, dude. Let's go. You know, as opposed to stopping what you're doing and then trying to divulge all the special like gift. You know what I mean? Like that's just unnecessary. Right.
I don't know. It's a flow chart. It's you're at this point now, and there's two prerequisites for that you're special type like quantity of things, and there's two things you need to do is you need to remember that sweetness is earned, and that's some sweetness. So you got to make sure that that's earned first. And the second thing is they have to be in your frame. You can't be giving these things to somebody who's not in your frame anyways. If there's like if you're on that weird area where you're kind of in this gray zone in between one side or the other, you're not there yet. You have to get to the point to where your partner or the person you're talking about is thoroughly in your frame before you can give them that.
And I think that what that comes down to is having a level of abundance, right? Like if you're too focused on one Coke bottle, you're going to end up ruining it, right? Like you got to let it go through its process. You can't just skip it because, oh, this Coke bottle is so fucking nice. I'm going to skip steps 2 to 5, get to right to step 6. No. The reason why people appreciate step 6 is because they had to go through step 2, 3, 4, 5, and they had to struggle through those things to earn step 6. Sweetness is earned, right? And if they would be in your frame, if they're actually, obviously progressing through the steps. Now, what does this really mean in a sale or in a relationship or even a friendship for that matter? You don't just welcome somebody into your home, into the closest parts of your soul and or heart, right? No. That's not how things progress. Even if that's something that you want to do, even if that's something that you see the other person wants to do as well, ensuring a process to go through is going to, in the end, inevitably be better for both parties, right? You don't just meet somebody and 2 weeks after you meet him, you're like, I love you. Because what it does is it cheapens it, right? It cheapens what it means to you, and it also cheapens what it might mean to them because they don't know what that means. You know what I mean? And so if you've gone through this whole assortment of life experience and steps, and you've divulged what that word truly means to you, so you've created, something precious, and then when you impart that said precious thing to somebody that you have vetted, i.e., gone through the steps, who is still within your frame because they're spending time with you, when you offer that, then that therefore is to be received with glory, right? Received with happiness. And I think to take this kind of idea and combine it with the whole idea of sadness and depression is that you need to learn how to treat yourself in a way you can progress in yourself. The reason why you set goals, the reason why you're disciplined, the reason why you're trying to get after something is because you want to you want your future you be treated with kindness, love, and respect. So you must learn how to treat yourself now with that same level of kindness, love, and respect. Now, we don't know how to get it fucking all woo-woo and shit. But what I'm saying is, if you want to be strong in a year, then you must suffer for a year in the gym. You must pay your dues. If you want to have a super kick-ass woman in your life in a year, well, then therefore you must go what? Approach, date, vet, and get after. Get after life to attract somebody. If you want to make a bunch of money in a year, then therefore you must go to work and accomplish tasks and push and sell and do whatever, to study, to be studious. For a course of time, you must pay. You must pay the tollman to get across the river.
And the best part of that is that gives you the happiness to go with the success because you did the work. Not only are you so blessed that you have work to do, but that it gives you the happiness at the end of the day. You finish the day and you're like, boom, I intensely did this. I did this intensely. I vigorously, achieved this goal on a daily time scale. And then you go to bed and you're like, I did the things, but it's not enough. So I'm going to do it again tomorrow.
100%. 100%.
I mean, we talk about being cursed with motivation, and that's like level 6 thoughts. It's like you just, yeah. I mean, you're not getting off on it, but you're getting off on it. You're like, dude, you know what's happening today? Like all week at work, it was just nothing but just like calamity and shambles left and right, and it was just like new deadlines that are like in an hour to do 2 hours worth of work, and I'm just sitting there and I'm watching everybody above me and they're all freaking out and they know what it's going to take and they know all the details. And I'm just smiling because I know that the worst thing that's going to happen is that we're going to hustle. We're going to work really hard and we might miss the deadline. I mean, they're asking for a lot and that's great. They're asking for more than feasibly able to be done. And you know what? I think we're going to get lucky. I think we're going to get it done and we're not supposed to be able to get it done. And that's what I want. That's the goal.
100%, man.
Give me something impossible. All right, that's even better. Because then in the let's say you have 10 impossible tasks and you get one of them, well, you just did an impossible thing. That's a capital W.
Yeah.
And with some lowercase L's.
Exclamation point to the right, 100%.
Yeah.
You know? And so with the engineers that I spend time with, I try to get them to think in the sense, like, the fact of the matter is that you are a problem solver. And you are, and the way I like to tell the story is like you have been gifted, with the ability to see into the future. Because not only do you figure out what happened, you figure out what may have happened in the sense that, like, hold on. Not only do you figure out what happened, you figure out how to prevent that from happening again. And then you have to engineer a completely new step to solve all of said issues that you discovered on. Like, that's like you're a goddamn fucking fortune teller. I think with your male friends, like, they give you a goal, and I think a good male friend, a good brother in that regard, says, "Go fucking do it. I'm proud of you." I don't know. And then the next step of that is like, well, how can I help? You know what I mean? Maybe not even they don't even say it, but like if you say something to me in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, what can I do to assist Jacob in this particular goal? If I know nothing about it, maybe I'll do a little bit of research. Will that really be beneficial? Or maybe what I'll do is I'll just encourage him because everyone else is around him saying, don't do it. Be careful. That's kind of intense. Maybe you shouldn't spend that much amount of money, as opposed to what I should do as your brother is support and be like, yo, man, get the fuck after it. If you fail, yeah, don't you fret, man. I'll still feed you. Come on over, man. We'll recover and recuperate. You know what I mean? And what do you do with a woman? I don't necessarily think that you should be solving all your girls' problems. In that I don't even think most women want you to solve their problems. It's most of the time they just want you to listen. So when some girl says, you make me smile on tough days, yeah, that's like, to me, that's like, okay, good. Call me more often. You know what I mean? Because then that means I get to garner more influence into your life. I get to do the activities that I thoroughly enjoy, which is to see you smile. And number 3, I also get to just be a goddamn fucking man. You know what I mean? And so, like, when you're dealing with depression with yourself, you can't do these things unless you have yourself squared away. So you got to start in the beginning. Why are you sad? What are your desires or goals or dreams or whatever it is? And maybe they're fucking real easy and small. Like, you're tired of having this like sick feeling in your stomach. Well, then you need to learn how to define it so you can alleviate it. Like, you can't go somewhere if you don't know where the hell you're going, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I think it just comes down to the shit that you're putting in your head. Stop feeding yourself stupid thoughts. Stop watching depressing movies, or feed your, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely create your own reality. I mean, whatever you tell yourself is what you believe, and that is a super powerful tool to use. Because if things are not, if the mood of the situation is, it's probably down here, everybody says you can't do it, it's impossible, whatever. Well, it's cool because you can just increase your reality and make it up here, and then take the actions that will make it true. Just because there's a bunch of people saying it can't be done, or you're not ready yet, or whatever, then just do the things. Just chase down every avenue, every possibility. Because just because everybody says it can't be done because only 2% people make it happen, then just be in the 2%. Just adjust your location on the scale.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's really it, because maybe then it's just you have to take even more action.
Yeah.
Or maybe what it really is just more time dedicated to it.
That 90% of goals are just more time allocated to the goal. You know, I've heard a lot. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but it takes a lot of time. It's like, okay, sleep less. You know, don't sleep 8 hours a night. Sleep 6 hours a night. Okay, now you have 2 extra hours to dedicate to whatever it is, and that's every day. That's 7 days a week. Yeah, 2 hours every day. If you can't make progress with 2 hours a day, then I don't know what you're doing. I mean, maybe you're solving cold fusion. I don't know,
but yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe the level of complexity requires even further amounts of time.
Yeah. But for the masses, for the majority of us looking to be happy and looking to meet XYZ goals, there's no reason why you can't do it with just adjusting it. I mean, there's moms with 3 kids and 3 jobs, raising their kids all on their own, no welfare, no nothing, just making it happen because they got to do what they got to do, and you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, dude, that's it.
There's somebody out there with less than you, more things going wrong for them than you, and they're getting more out of life.
Yeah, I mean, I was just hanging out with a dude yesterday that came from prison, and now he's almost making triple what I am, and I'm like, damn, dude. In the last 5 years, he took a lot of action. Good for fucking you. I would trade my life for his, but
but I can take that and I can use it because sometimes that's what it takes, dude. Is somebody starts from so low and then they just have so much strong momentum from the get-go is that they surpass you. They're flying high.
Yeah, they have to get up to that region. Right?
They only have so many choices, convicts, they got a couple choices, construction is like the go-to,
And I think it really comes down to what we talked about the other day, and I don't know if it was a talk that we had done or if it was just a conversation over the phone. The eighth wonder of the world, Albert Einstein said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And if you apply that to your life, and if you're doing a particular activity every single day and you improve, let's say 100%, and every single time you do the activity, you're improving 1%. Well, 1% at 200% is greater than the 1% before that. And let's say, for instance, you improved, 1,000% over the course of like 5 years, and you're still improving 1%. Well, if you're improving at 1% of 1,000%, the amount of jumps you're going to be making is going to be increasing, obviously, by a huge margin. And I think that if you take advantage of that, it all really comes down to consistency. I don't think anything is impossible. I think anything can be done if you chip away at it. If you just got to set the stones one at a time, and then you just have to be religious about that tradition in that you're just doing the thing one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's pickup and you want to get good at pickup, you got to open 1,000 sets. I was trying to explain to our mutual friend the other day. It's like, he's like, oh, well, how did you get good at it? It's like, well, this is my 1,000th set. It's not my first set, so it's going to go entirely differently.
Yeah, and you're going to progressively get better because like the pattern in which that you see and you bring in, it starts to fill itself in. And as you get better at navigating it, you know what I mean? Like, shit, man, just the quality of women that I attract to my life nowadays, it's 1,000 times % better than it was previously.
Yeah. 3 years ago, we were playing a different game.
Yeah, completely different. And it's just like one of the things with our mutual friend too, and it's something I was talking to him about. I was like, okay, first off, dude, what are your top fucking 3 goals? What is it that you want to think about on a day-to-day basis? What is number 1? What is number 2? And what's 2.5? Your first goal is something you think about all the fucking time. You do all the time. Your second goal is on your off time, you do that. And then you have this half goal that you're just kind of like maintaining. Is getting super fucking strong your number 1 goal? If that's the case, then you will go to bed early. You will train every day. You will eat properly every day. You will track it all. That is your number one goal. Nothing gets ahead of that. Nothing gets in front of it. You know what I mean? And what's your second goal? If it is happen to be game, or getting out of depression or whatever particular goal that you choose, you must then therefore, in all of your other off time, to be spent in doing activities that you deem it necessary to get yourself out of that. You know what I mean? And for him, I was just like, okay, what's your fucking goals? If number one is muscles, is number two game? And if number two is game, then you need to put yourself in an area where you can say hello to a few girls a day, or to maybe 10 a day. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know. It depends on where you are. And what's your goal in that regard too? And something I challenged him is, I don't know if I'm even going to follow up on it, honestly. I'm just going to kick his ass in the gym. Really, that's my main objective. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to murder him in the gym, mainly because I'm selfish and I like having a training partner.
Yeah. No, I think multiple mentors is the way to do it, though. I'm a firm believer in you can't get everything from one source. Because because every master has his inherent weaknesses. A master is good at one thing but bad at something else. And you as a full circle man, and not even that, dude. I mean, he might be an upper level dude with everything, but the way he teaches this and that very well, but he doesn't teach this and that very well. So then you just get the first two things from the guy, and you go find another master who's really good at teaching another skill until you've completed your wholesome circle manhood together.
And with that said, is like you can't do that unless you know what your fucking goals are. And I challenged him to do the 3 sacred questions. And it's like you can't bring wins into your life unless you know what you want to win in. And if you want to bring a woman into your life, well, do you even know what kind of woman that you would want and to enjoy? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with them? Are you trying to get married? Are you trying to just be a whore? Are you trying to because the activities to do one or the other are completely different.
Yeah.
If you want to get super fucking strong, or like you're trying to be a bodybuilder, or you trying to be like really an endurance athlete. Well, to be a bodybuilder and to be an endurance athlete, those are 2 different activities.
Yeah.
You want to be a marathon runner? Well, that means you're gonna fucking run and run.
Yeah, no amount of squats is gonna help you run a marathon.
Yeah, exactly.
At least
100%. And then it's just execution on the basics. Basics are pretty fucking simple. Say hi, square up, eye contact, have something to fucking say, lead them in a positive direction, look for the hook point. After you have the hook point, move it forward again, break the touch barrier, bring them closer. Try to give them a kiss. Whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And just continue to lead them. And if it's somebody you really enjoy, compliment plus depth, have good conversation skills, be charming, be intelligent, make them feel at ease, bring them to another location, continue to build a friendship. It's just a whole stack of things. It's pretty goddamn fucking simple when you break it down. Barney style. I know it's difficult because things are so chaotic and awry. And plus, if you meet somebody you really, really enjoy, you're like, now you're fucking like focusing on it. You're probably thinking about it too much. You know what I mean? And I would almost dare say like that's when you start ruining yourself because you lost in your own purpose, right? Like they always say that like you want to wait 3 days text or whatever it is. I always thought that was retarded because it was like if you have nothing to do, you're just gonna ruin it 3 days from now, as opposed to just going and having the shit to do anyway. And then just, I don't know, have an adventurous life to invite somebody in. Don't make the person the adventure. Right? We talked about it 1,000 different times. It's one of those things.
There's something you've said to me that's definitely saved me from making the wrong move on several occasions. Is it's just that it's like don't wait, just be that busy. And I got the same I don't know say crutch or thing going on in the phone and it's just like I don't I might read it, like I might be on my phone scrolling through Instagram, and like it'll pop up, and then that's just my reminder that I should be doing something important. It's not even like I see the message and I'm like, oh yeah, I would love to know what that says, but then I'm also like, it's just my reminder that when I get a message from that person and I'm not doing anything, maybe I should be doing something. Maybe I should be that busy. Then I go outside, then I go to the store, I buy some sandpaper. I was like, oh, now I got stuff to do.
I got stuff to do. Yeah, it's like it's a reminder, and that's just one of those things. And maybe it's just our set of rules. I just think that a girl wants to be with somebody who's a fucking winner, not a loser.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a woman that would tell you otherwise. How many women are out there? They're posted up at the gas station and they're like, when he comes out, dude, to fill up somebody's car, dude, he's mine.
So
So yeah, I mean, step one, if you want women in your life, is be successful. That's like. If you want to give some, I always ask people, do you want the short answer? Or you want the right answer? And the short answer is just make more money. If you want more women in your life, do you want to learn game, or do you want the short answer? The short answer is just make more money. Just buy your way to the top.
Just improve your fucking character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody read a bio of you versus somebody else, your bio should be a night and day difference. It should be something to where people are like, damn, this man, who's this guy? What's this guy all about?
Yeah. And in the context of what we opened it up with in this particular conversation is that, that's something to really think about it too. Like if this is your movie, imagine your life as a movie and you are the main character, right? Just know that this dip that you're going through is just the current dip. So think to yourself, okay, how do I want this adventure to lead? And then decide on it and then get after it. I guess just like, I know it sounds like, oh, well, you don't understand like my life, blah, 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 blah. You have no other choice. You have no other choice. You have no other choice. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, I'm not saying that I don't believe in the big guy upstairs, but I don't think he's gonna fuck up and show up tomorrow. And he's not gonna be like, yo, hey Eric, how's it going, man? Here's all the things that you've been wanting.
Here's what you asked for. Yeah.
I just don't think that's gonna fucking happen.
It's not a Sonic order,
And so if you don't like David was talking about how not everybody has the ability to dream anymore. To dream like a child, and one of the things that we talked about was just like starting small. Okay, start small then. Like if your current life is in such disarray that you don't know what to do next, well then therefore pick a small goal. Our mutual friend, he's upset at his living situation. I was like, dude, I was on Craigslist yesterday looking for a place.
Yeah.
I found at least a dozen different places that have rent from less than $700 for a room.
Yeah.
You can get out.
Oh yeah. There's no secret.
So,
but there's a bunch of risk, there's a bunch of uncertainty, and there's a bunch of stagnation. I'm sure there's some paralysis by analysis going on there.
I also think it's like an addiction to like the negative mindset. It's addiction to like your depression. You know what I mean? And so the reason why I bring up the whole depression bit is like you just have to be so irrational to get yourself out of it. You got it. Like they always say these like motivation. You just got to decide. Like it's all the same game. No one's gonna do it for you.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, man. Like it's just like I've been thinking about this all day to myself. I'm like, okay, this is what's gonna happen in the next week. I found a couple places. I'm gonna go to one more place tomorrow. It actually might be the one place that I should have picked to begin with. My other buddy Alex. Turns out there's 2 people moving out of his apartment complex, and the rent for 2 bedrooms there is actually less than a bunch of the other single bedrooms that I found, which I think is really fucking funny, right? So on Monday, I'm gonna find that out. So tomorrow.
Yeah.
If
Alex is a good person to ask. That man will sniff out a good deal.
And he's squared away. I like that guy a lot, you know. So I have this happening. I know my loved ones, my parents are leaving, right? They're gone. So I can no longer use them as a platform for safety. Not that I did prior to that, but I'm just saying in general. This is a thing to know. I know that my top killers, my guys, I don't get to see on a regular basis, right? And so I've gone out of my way to continue to cultivate those relationships by phone calls, text, you know, sending inspirational shit through IG, and then we have these dude talks to communicate and to strategize and to just continue to sharpen the iron. That's what these are for, right? Then I ask myself, okay, I have given myself total isolation to get something done. What are the things that I want to get done? I want to build my business, right? Both at my employment, i.e., I run a sales, you know, because I'm a salesman, I have to cultivate my portfolio. Let's just call it that way. But I also have other projects that I need to dial in and double down on. And then I have, you know, some secondary goals that I want to be able to accomplish as well. And that requires action. And so I've asked myself, okay, what is a perfect schedule? If you could wave your wand and you decided that if every minute was scheduled, let's just arbitrarily say, what would be the perfect schedule to accomplish all of these tasks? You know? And let's just say that for 6 months you committed yourself to it. You committed to yourself as if your life depended on it, right? Like, what would happen? Odds are you probably would accomplish all of those things. Sure, it would suck. The nights would be quiet. You might be hungry. You might be a little sad. You know, you might even want to cry. I don't fucking know. Maybe you'll laugh at the ridiculousness of it. But if you push through all the random emotions that you have to go through as a person to get to that end goal, and then you make those goals achievable by accomplishing them, then you've dug yourself out of the hole, right? That's too fucking easy, right? So like that's what I'm about to commit myself harder than I've ever committed myself again, you know? And so it's going to be fucking fantastic. And it's not like I'm starting from a place of zero. And people who are starting from a place of zero, get yourself to 1. And once you get yourself to 1, commit yourself to getting to 3. And once you get to level 3, commit yourself to getting to level fucking, 8. And just like the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest, you don't have to relearn the basics every fucking time. You don't. You know, like with this particular individual that I'm going to be really campaigning to steal away. Let's just arbitrarily say that she disappears in my life. I don't have to start from ground zero. I understand how to go meet another one. I just turn right and say hi, you know. I take a left. Hello, you know. But my life isn't defined by that. If I want to make more money, I shouldn't be upset when an engineer says no to me. Because there are 1,000 of them, you know what I mean? I just, okay, take a right. Here's another one right there. How's it going? Da-da-da, lead them on the path. Close. It's too fucking simple. You know what I mean? You just got to be consistent in those behaviors that create inevitability. It's too fucking simple. You did it best, honestly. You came back from your training, and you went to work. I think you were the greatest example of that. In all honesty, life punched you in the fucking face with 4 knuckles, and you're like, motherfucker. But you're like, this does not define me. This is just one step along the path. I'm gonna go back. Maybe I wasn't ready, right? You worked out, you studied, you got after it. You took care of all your smaller goals, and you did it on a daily basis. You did it so well that people are coming up to you and being like, why are you so fucking motivated? Because you're like, no, I'm being pulled by a vision that's greater than myself. And I care about my future self. Now, I don't know if you've ever said this to yourself, but like you at 28 wants to be somewhere. I care about that 28-year-old me. And so therefore I'm going to do all the things I need to do to get me there. I'm 30 right now. And I've been thinking about what do I want to be at 35? And I'm like, I'm going to do all the things I need to do to be where I want to be at 35, period. You know, because I care about myself. You know?
Yeah, those are two life junctures where a lot of people fall off. A lot of people fall off, you know, about 25 years old. That's when their metabolism slows down, and then they're like, oh, I'm comfortable just eating Popeye's chicken and fucking off, you know, jerking off into mayonnaise jugs or whatever the fuck 25-year-olds do, you know, and they start to fall off. And then anybody who pushes to 30, then they get to 30, and then that's when they're like, it hits, and they're like, oh my God, I got to get married and fat. Like, hurry up. And then they get married and fat real quick.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can get through those two barriers, you're going up. There's no more resistance. There's no nothing. I mean, you're just going up from there. And if you're always thinking about your future self, because we're in a point in our lives where we're thinking about our past selves, and we're like, fuck, if only I'd have done this, if only I'd have done this, if only I'd worked harder. It's okay. So now knowing that then I need to do that for my future self.
Yeah, and as the old saying goes, when is the best time to plant a tree? Yesterday. When is the second best time to plant a tree? Today.
Yeah.
And that's something I've really been focused on over the last few days. Because I'm like, okay, we only got one life to live. And I do not want to spend another second of it being sad and feeling sorry for myself for not having the things that I want and desire. And that just therefore means that if I do want and desire these things, then I can just be reluctant to do them and choose death, choose something less than death, to suffer a life of mediocrity and strife. Or I can choose to live within the realm of chaos and take home glory. That is my responsibility as a man, to bring victory. And if I want to have a wonderful fucking family and a wonderful fucking life, that requires an extreme amount of fucking action in order to achieve those things. And that is my responsibility, because no other man is going to give that to me. God ain't sure going to fucking come down and bestow that upon me. He ain't just going to arbitrarily gift me fucking good shit. You know what I mean? Even if you go back in time and you look at all these fucking different mythologies and things of that nature, they never did the same thing either. You know? Perseus, he still had to go through, he had to go fucking kill Medusa in order to destroy the Kraken, right? Like he could have been like, all right, the Kraken's dead, don't worry about it, you're fucking fine. You know what I
mean? Yeah, I'm sure the god could have killed him, but he was busy. He was in a meeting or whatever. He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna need you to go handle this for me, you know?
You know, whatever.
It wouldn't have been the same book.
Yeah.
I think that's there's
like and he was blessed with strength, right? I'm just saying. You go.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the level of gratitude there. You know, it's like you got to be grateful for the struggle. You know, you wouldn't have a story. Nobody would have cared. You know, if the gods were like, "I will just we'll just handle it. We'll do everything for you," and then you'll just be there at the top. Nobody read your book, dude. You gotta write a book. Your life has to be a book worth reading.
100%, man. And some of the successful guys that I've spent real quality time with, they've all said the same thing. Like, hey, listen, it's good being at the top, but let me tell you about the glory days when I had to fucking sleep on my goddamn couch in this shitty apartment, hungry, you know. And they tell it as if it was like the most beautiful thing in the world, but like he's like, while I was there, I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared, blah blah blah. You know, these are the what's that guy? Steve Canello. I can't remember his name, but he's the guy who wrote Meat Eater.
Yeah.
And he's the one who I learned the whole like the 3 levels of happiness, or 3 levels of fun, or something like that. And he's like, a low level fun is things that are fun in the moment, like going to a carnival, or no, just like laughing with your buddies at like a barbecue or something like that. A medium level fun is like going to events like a concert, like a carnival or Disneyland and things of that nature, right? So like you still remember them, but they're not like remembered with like reverence. But a high level fun is actually something that's happening to you that actually really fucking sucks in the moment. It's just miserable, right? But later on, 6 months from now, you think back and you laugh about how much it sucked. Now, some of the best times, I can describe to you all kinds of best times in my life. I won't discount. Um, I've had moments where I wish I could repeat, and that I campaign to repeat again. There's some good moments we have, right? But let's just think about some of our favorite moments, you and I as friendships, you and I as friends, as brothers. Some of my most favorite moments are when we're suffering in the gym together, or when it was fucking cold, miserable. We worked fucking 40 hours, like 50 hours, and we're on the last day of our. This is day 6 of working a 14-hour shift at fucking Discount Tire, and we're just like fucking dog tired, and it's fucking miserable because it's snowing outside, and you and I are just fucking trying to sing some fucking songs and just make it to the fucking day, right? Like, those are some good fucking times, man. Like, I'll never fucking forget those. Those are the and we decide to stay up fucking super late at night and just talk about life and dreams, man. Like, I will never fucking we'll never. This is some of the best times. I would never replace those. I would never ask to be elsewhere from that, right?
Yeah, and those are stories that I tell people I'm around nowadays, and it's like, oh yeah, we used to do this. This was like a regular occurrence, and it's like they almost don't believe it. They're like, that's impossible. Nobody works that hard. Nobody does that. And then they get off of work, and then they just like bullshit because they like the people they're around. Like, it doesn't sound real. Like when you tell that story, but then like you tell me, you say that out loud, and I'm thinking in my head like, I remember sitting in the back of the Jeep with the hatch up, and it's still raining and shitty outside. And
Yeah.
we're just talking about, I'm thinking about like some girl I was going to try to ask out in high school. I could see it in my mind's eye, and I laugh at that. It's funny, dude. It's I can think of times after that in my life where I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, maybe more every day, just day in, day out, grinding, just doing it, just doing the things.
Some of the best times I've had with my brother Sammy, when we were in Utah, our manager's name is Joe, right? This is while we were in high school, by the way. This motherfucker worked us 45 hours in high school, while we had a fucking education to fucking deal down. You know what I mean? This motherfucker overworked the shit out of us, right? And I think it's really funny. Which I learned this the other day. Somebody came up and was talking to fuck. I forget who was telling me the story. But Sam and I had such notoriety at Discount Tire that people from other states knew about us as the Nicolosi boys. And I just thought that was pretty fucking cool. Like, but that came at a cost though. My brother and I worked our asses off. Oh my god! And the store faced north, and so it would snow inside the building. And so we had it like, every like 2 or 3 cars, we had to fucking take those squeegees and squeegee out the water. I just remember, like, if you didn't wear boots, you wear tennis shoes, and that was kind of like a cost too, because if you wear boots, you're a little bit heavier, you can't move as fast. Fuck, dude. But I wouldn't trade that for the world because I got to hang out with my brother, and it was just fucking fun. The two of us just killing it, right? Like, like, I'm not saying that all memories need to be that way. Like, so, I mean, fuck, even over the last like 3 weeks, I've had some pretty fucking awesome memories. So when I'm hanging out with my buddies down in Miami for Hot Dude Con, right? That was a lot of fun. It was good, You and I down in like Colorado Springs, just chilling,
Yeah,
chilling in that Russian cigar bar,
just being thugs.
just being. That was fun, man.
Yeah,
And you can't have those beautiful moments unless you're doing all the right things before that. The reason why we were able to perform in those moments of chaos is because we've done all the homework.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and to kind of wrap it up, that's why when things are going sideways, things are unsure, there's a lot of pressure. If you're used to pressure, it ain't no thing, dude. You're rubbing your hands together and you're thinking about all the dope times you were under pressure before, and you're like, oh, dude, there was this one time, dude, we were just getting like railed, we were 45 cars deep, and we were just like, taking off, it's like that go on and on and on, dude. It's like everybody wants to get afraid. Oh wow, this is difficult. This is scary, and I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. Right? Let's go, dude.
You need to be inspired by it, right? Like when things get real hard for me, I'm like, hey, thank you for giving me the opportunity to show you how fucking awesome I really am.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody's old man said it, but if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. So if it's hard, dude, and it's exclusive, dude, now that's like a limited edition experience, dude. I don't buy Supreme, but if I did, dude, I'd have the shirt right now. Yeah.
That's clever. That was good. And that's it, man. Yeah.
You just got to pick it, dude. It's a custom class, dude. Just pick the right perks.
Yeah. You got to start thinking of yourself as a character in a movie, and you can customize all the skills that you want. You write your own story. Now that sounds like fucking, some like woo-woo life bullshit, but it literally is the truth.
Yeah, everything's got a cost. You just got to pay for it. Everything you want, dude, you just got to pay it up, dude. It's you want muscles, you go to the gym, you pay for it.
Yeah.
I just pick people I like that are better at things than me, and then I try to beat them.
Yeah,
Man, you're awesome, dude. You're really strong. I need to outsquat this guy.
I need that. And so now I'm like, oh, this motherfucker trying to outsquat me. I'm like, okay, I guess now I have more than one reason to continue to push forward. And as you and I just get stronger, we're just going to enjoy each other's company. And there it is.
Yeah.
All the while, there's this subtle competition that keeps us fucking young and youthful.
Yeah. And I'm not so bad that I can't hit a moving target, just because it's getting farther away doesn't mean I can't beat it.
Hey, there you go. There it is right there. 100%. So
I think if you're depressed right now and this doesn't make sense, maybe there's a couple books that need to be read before this podcast is going to hit. But if you're at that pinnacle moment and you watch this and you're like, you know what? Now's the day. The days I start. Today is that turning point.
Today's the day. Yeah,
this is for you.
And I think that's something that should be really thought about. Like it shouldn't, like your day will not be epic. Your day, there will not be music. Your day will not have ballads sung in the background. You will be alone and cold. Right? This idea of like, or maybe it's like blistering hot and you're just uncomfortable. And you just have to say, this is enough. This is my day. And then you just change. Or just start to change. And as you change, it will get easier. Maybe you fall back a step, but then you take 2 more steps. And you just got to continue. David likes to motivate himself by dreaming of what is good. I like to motivate myself by dreaming of what is the nightmare. I run from the nightmare. I don't want the fucking nightmare. So I run towards glory.
That shit's ass. We're going the other way.
Yeah, we're going the other way. David does the opposite. He says, I think about what is good and I walk towards that. Whatever gets you fucking where you need to go is how you should go about doing it. Right? Now, people would say that I'm a generally positive guy. I'm a pretty positive individual, but if I didn't tell you that I think about what is negative, you wouldn't know, Yeah.
Got
to take the steps.
Yeah, make the choices. You wake up every day, and that little voice in the back of your head says, make good choices. Because we all know we make bad choices. You see that big old plate of food, and we're like, is that for me? It's not, but I'm going to eat it anyways.
You see that girl that you really want to enjoy, and you'll say hi instead of walking away. You have this opportunity for a job, and you say no because you don't think you're good enough for it. If you want to live at your parents' place where your mom is a heavy drinker and the guy she's dating is an idiot, when you're only paying less than $1,000 for rent instead of going to get a room for rent somewhere else where you don't have to deal with that, you are choosing your own suffering.
Yeah. It's really hard to find sympathy for suffering because I love suffering, dude. I'd sell it to everybody, dude. I'd sell it to my grandma. Grandma, you want to improve your life? You want some suffering? Hey, I love you, Grandma, but I'll get you there.
So choose what is good as far as suffering goes. If all roads are difficult, then choose the road that's difficult that gets you where you want to go.
Yeah, it's gonna suck no matter what. I mean, having an easy life sucks. Having a hard life sucks. But just have the life that gets you somewhere cool. I just want to have a life full of good stories, and so far so good. And I'm just going to keep doing those things, and I'm going to keep having dope stories, and people are going to keep thinking like, "Damn, these people are crazy."
Yeah, that's it. I was recently told that you should travel as much as possible because you only have one life. And hey, listen, I like to spend my money on steak and travel. It warms my heart that you and I are travel buddies, right? It's just like one of those things.
Yeah. All right, man.
Good, man. Hour 13. That was a quick little thing. That was good.
Yeah. Just bang out a quick hour. I think that was a good one. I think it was just a little mini episode.
Very succinct.
Yeah.
So, like, subscribe, smash that goddamn fucking subscribe button. However the thing goes.
Yeah, make it a color. I don't know. Hit a bell. I don't know.
Reach out to us. We're going to be having courses come up soon. I'm going to be putting together quite a few stuff. So we're only getting better.
Yeah.
As always, I have nothing but love for you, man. I'll talk to you later.
Nothing but love for you, man. I'll see you later.